Hi, I'm Wild Bill, Archon of Law. Today I would like to give an addendum to missing persons and talk about Patchworld, especially dragons and Patchworld. Dragons had the only substantive culture on the planet, though on a single continent, limited as all magical interactions are by water being a Kel moderator. Their archive in the north of the main continent was raided and the dragons captured or fled. The invaders were vampires whose leader, an alchemist, was developing a boost potion meant to supersize vampire warrior powers. This research led to BME, Burning Man Elixir, which is intensely magical and boosts a vampire's strength, constitution, and regeneration to otherwise impossible levels. In Dungeons & Dragons terms, BME equals plus 200 percentile points to strength and constitution, which equals 2 full points. Regeneration goes up to 10 hit points per segment. The potion lasts an hour and has a hangover, lowering all ability scores for 24 hours afterward. The recipient looks like Dormammu or Johnny Blaze, head streaming fire upward. This is incredibly painful and costs 4 hit points per segment, but some vampires love it, getting the rush that a speedball, cocaine and heroin, confers upon the addict. Some dragons were not captured or were elsewhere at the time, particularly the Ragged Dragon, the young dragon Zephyr, Eshkalar's best friend Arcanax, who also grows the best wheat in Patchworld, and the immortal dragon, Fafnir, now deceased. Li Po, the Jade Dragon, was polymorphed into a human, as were all the dragons in residence, a tactic the invaders used to neutralize dragon powers at the archives. Fortunately, her aunt, Echidna, realizing the probable fate of her friends and family, threw a curse on the polymorph, which altered the spell in effect to true polymorph. As invaders entered the hall, her aunt pushed Li Po out the garbage chute. She slid to the Cardinal Pit outside of the archives, hid till the invaders had left, and wandered off to find a cure for her unwanted humanity. However, due to her curse of true humanity, she wasn't noticed by roving vampire squads looking for dragons. Eventually, she arrives in Eston, and the story of Patchworld begins. That's the hidden background story of the Northern Trilogy, the first 3 books of 12 in Patchworld. Li Po's seeking to cure her curse of humanity. Will meets her and falls in love. Warwick, also known as the Alchemist, finds her there and cons her into providing dragon blood for his experiments in immortality. His efforts succeed. Li Po survives due to rescue by friends Will and Mick. Will and Li Po, though in love, never consummate. She returns to dragon form and resides forevermore in Foreskin Town. In the Southern Trilogy, books 4 to 6, Arcanax is captured by the vampires of the Pack Ice and used as a blood cowl for the production of BME. Rescued by Eshkalar's team of burnouts, Arcanax then retires from the mortal world into his cave. He only comes out for beer until his lost daughter, Zephyr, reappears. The Pack Ice vampires went on to produce a new potion, GME, Glowing Man Elixir, from the blood of godlings captured and beheaded while they hibernated. The story and expose of the process make good reading. GME equals 100% magic resistance at 11th level, plus 3 to strength and constitution, and boost regeneration to 50 hit points per segment. The heroes of Foreskin Town, under Prometheus, definitively defeat the Glowing Men after a protracted war. That story parades through the pages of books 7 to 9. I did not need to invent a lingua franca for the planet. Everyone speaks ancient Greek. Eshkalar concluded the first treaty with the expat Tula colony simply because he could understand what they were saying in radio speak. He received it through the fillings of his teeth and recognized it as speech. Eshkalar's a genius or some junk. I write Will's poetry, he's my idea of the bard or skald, in English, so it rhymes and scans. It did not need a special language for that. Now Caniceros, who is separate but equal and included, fits into Patchworld between books 11 and 12. Arriving in Patchworld on the island of Jezbit, he and his friends figure heavily in book 12. So, except for that last bit, that is the basic story of dragons in Patchworld, how they interact, how they began it all, and how the whole story of 12 novels begins with Lee Poe arriving in Eston. Wild Bill.